Esports.
With the growing popularity, we ask the question, what is a sport?
Analog Assemble.
We showcase our first ever second edition of Analog Assemble.
That and much more on this episode of Watch,
Chat, Play. Thank you for joining us. My name is Devon.
And I am Cameron. And this week we're going to take a look at the realm of esports.
Yeah.
Let's start with the definition of the word sport.
Yeah,
I'm going to do a terrible thing right now.
So now you can see us all actually going to the source, which of course is Google, because who else would you ask for? So what website did you bring out?
I'm on the straight up Google search right there on top.
All right,
search for the word.
So what is a sport?
Okay, according to this, it is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
Okay, so let's break down that a little bit. The part that was in there that I think is the biggest dispute, it's probably part of this whole thing, is like the physical part.
Yes.
So you tell me physicality of a sport. I think football, I think soccer, I think bicycling, because it's very physical, it's very enduring. Football, you're smashing into each other. Basketball, you're running all over the place. Soccer, obviously, you're running all over the place. Yep. Bicycling and marathons are more of a just distance-based kind of stamina-based sport.
Yep.
But when you compare that against esports, does that really hold up? I don't. If you're looking at them, us sitting down and playing a video game versus somebody else running, the football 20 yards and getting tackled, that is not the same thing.
It's far from the same thing, but they are similar. The amount of training that goes into being on one of these professional teams that win millions of dollars by the the end of the season or whatever, they train a lot, like 18-hour days, like every single day. They're building up their ability. I mean, granted, it's not running, but some of us aren't in shape. Like, we can't run that much, and maybe we still want to have fun with something. Earn money by playing video games. That sounds awesome, right?
Well, yeah, it sounds awesome. But it's literally called a game, like a video game.
Well, so is football game. Basketball game.
But they are considered athletes. Are gamers that play League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Dota 2, people that play in like the Street Fighter 5 since that just came out. There's a huge... I think the event was in Vegas. I think normally like the big tournaments are held in Vegas, and people come from all over the world, strangely enough, to compete in these really big, tournaments that last who knows how long.
And so much money to be won too.
So yeah, so much money. But are people that play Street Fighter 5 or people that play Dota 2, are they considered digital athletes?
I would, with the amount of training that they put into, they deserve some kind of title like that, because that's strenuous. That's hard on your eyes. That's hard on your hands. That's hard on your relationship with your 4 other players. If you're playing a 5-person team like League of Legends or stuff like that, you're working really hard. So I don't know, when you say athlete, definitely you think of something with athletics. That's the root of the word. So I don't know if you can call him an athlete per se, but something's got to be there. Maybe, I don't even know.
Because the interesting thing for me is I go to school at Kent State University, so I've said that a couple of times, but if you're just joining us, I'm in college for broadcast journalism, which is one of the reasons that I was interested in doing this whole thing. So the other day, I was in class and we were talking about how to get a job as a journalist and stuff like that. And we've been doing, it's called a package, where you interview a bunch of people, you record a bunch of B-roll, and then you do your audio over it. Okay. And one of the stories that one of the students did was at Kent State, they have a esports club, essentially. So it's a bunch of people that come together. They were playing a lot of Smite, which I know you love. They played a couple other games as well, like League of Legends and Dota 2. And their hope was that they would be able to garner enough credibility that they would be able to get noticed as a legit chapter of the college, the Kent State University, Golden Flashes esports team, and then be able to leverage that into scholarships and stuff like that, which is basketball. There's tennis, there's soccer, there's golf, there's like all kinds of stuff at Kent State that they offer. The response to that video, especially when, because we saw all of our packages live, when we watched that video and the kids said, the leader of that group said that we want to be a nationally recognized thing. Yeah. We would like to be the Kent State esports team, like the Flashes. There was this resounding laughter and mockery and stuff like that from everybody that was in the group, and I actually got really really pissed about it. I said a lot of things very quickly just because I was frustrated, and it wasn't even really that it was about esports. It was just that if you are in part of a group and you are a serious group and you're trying to get notoriety, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't really care what you're into. I'm not into fashion, but there's a fashion club. I'm not into PR. There's like a PR club. There's pretty much a club for everything. There's a veterans association. There's all kinds of stuff in there. I think if you are part of a group and there's nothing that you're doing that's like wrong or malicious or anything like that, why shouldn't you have the opportunity to do that? But the second it became video games, the second it became esports, the second that the argument that was posed in the class was, if you're trying to get a scholarship because you're playing video games, that's taking away from me trying to get a scholarship for doing something differently. And that was their argument, which I thought was kind of an interesting argument. So do you think there should be a difference between like the scholarship money of it? Like if, you and I play Rocket League and we absolutely destroy it and we're better than anybody else, in our region, should we be able to get a scholarship for that?
If you take it far and make a name for your college, absolutely. Like if you're out there and you're kicking butt left and right and you're representing, the Flashes, that deserves a scholarship. You're making your school look good. Like you're out there representing. You're doing the best you can. You're a good group. You're you're great sportsmanship. You're nice to everyone, and you're winning. Why not bring some more people in? Because video games go hand in hand with kind of nerd culture. Mm-hmm. So if you bring in these so-called nerds, they're usually great students. I mean, I was a terrible high school student, but I like to learn now. I grew out of that. And if playing video games is something they love and they see that, Kent has a esports team, that's going to want to bring their money into their school. It's going to fund them.
Because what I saw was a very old school reaction. Video games are dumb and language and blah 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 and violence and there's nothing good in this. That's what it felt like. Like I was in a room full of 80-year-old people, which is weird because I was the older person in the class and I got really mad when they were. It was a very interesting thing, but I think the scope of video game journalism is changing, which I think they need to tweak that anyway. I think it's a little rough. I think it's more critique based than anything else. Yeah. And then video games as a whole the outlook of it is totally different. If you look at a game like Quantum Break, they're bringing a whole lot of actors to essentially do a movie or TV show using the video game as a medium. And then there's a lot of actors who will come and they will do voiceover work for video games because it's got Kiefer Sutherland did Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes.
And that was a big deal because he was not the original voice or whatever.
Yep.
But the fact that, Kiefer Sutherland is huge. Jack Bauer, 24, huge actor. Mm-hmm. He's been around forever. And he came and did that. So it's got enough credibility where big actors are coming to do stuff like this.
Yep.
So it's changing, but I still think that there is very much a negative connotation when you look at esports and stuff like that, where it just... I think people don't give it the credibility that it should probably have, considering how hard it is to do that.
They work hard. They really do.
And as far as a draw, I actually think you raised a really good point. If I'm a student and I'm into video games, if I want to be a computer programmer, if I want to get into video game journalism or whatever, and then I find out that Kent State has an esports team that's legit, I'm probably going to want to jump in on that because that would be awesome. I know Kent Tusk down here, they do video game night. But that's as far as they pursue that. They have a computer sciences program, but there's nothing bigger like an esports team, I think. But we were talking before we even started shooting. IGN, I think, just teamed up with a different company to do esports. I'm pretty sure I just read that.
I'm not sure. I haven't been on IGN in a little while, so it's very possible.
But I've been hearing a lot of stuff about esports, and with we're going to go into this as well. I was thinking in terms of with football. We're in Ohio, so the Cleveland Cavaliers for basketball are huge because LeBron James in it.
Yeah.
LeBron James brings in so much money for sports specifically that gives credence to that entire area just because everybody wants to see the Cavs play because they want to see LeBron play. With the Browns up in Cleveland, they are not a great team. Their fan base is really 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 passionate and stuff like that, but they're critically not known as a really good team. But they bring in a lot of money from jerseys and ticket sales and parking and stuff like that. They generate a lot of revenue from ads and stuff like that. So then when I start looking at stuff like Rocket League and I see the different opportunities to put stuff everywhere, when I look at really big events in Las Vegas for the League of Legends tournaments and how much money that thing generates, because it's a big convention.
It's huge.
News outlets are sending their teams to cover it. Advertisers are getting involved in it. I see so many parallels between, like, you know, the Super Bowl is the much grander scale than, say, like, obviously a League of Legends tournament or a Street Fighter V tournament. But there are so many parallels to where it can't be more than 3 or 4 years before esports becomes, like, a credible thing, and we do start seeing esports team, you know, the Golden Flashes esports team, or, you know, the Ohio State Buckeyes esports team, or the, you know, Michigan Wolverines esports team. I don't see why that wouldn't be a thing that we would see in the future.
Yeah, I really don't see any reason why that it can't be a thing. It's just that negative connotation that people still give, and it's goofy. It's stupid, really. Like, it's entertainment. I'm sure most of those people are saying, "Oh, you waste your time with video game." You probably sit at home and watch freaking TV all day. You get home from work and you got your soap operas on.
Yeah, and reality TV, and I know a lot of people who Stone Cold Steve Austin has like this big physical fitness like TV show. John Cena just did this thing where it's all these veterans and they're teaching all these, you know, people teaching all these people to, you know, survival training and stuff like that. There's so much of a premium on, you know, American Idol and The Voice and all this reality TV. And there's no engagement for that at all. Like you don't do anything more than just watch that. At least with an esports video game, you're putting the time to try to get better. And I sucked at Rocket League in the beginning. I was terrible at it. I didn't understand how to do the boost at all. I didn't understand how to hit the ball right. I couldn't pass. It was very frustrating. Now I love that game. I play it at least once a day, a couple of times, because it's a great game. It would be fun to enter a tournament like that and then to do well. That would be cool.
I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. It's a great game. So I don't know. I still think there's very much a very old school negative outlook on video games. But then to look at the writing of a game like Witcher Wild Hunt, the story-driven content of a game like The Last of Us, to look at how great of a medium that is for storytelling, and to know that people still just don't get it, it's just confusing.
Yep, for real.
Yeah, it's very, very confusing. So,
and sports being so popular.
Because they are very popular.
Like, everyone at work, I don't follow sports very much, but when I'm sitting at lunch, everyone's talking sports. So my question to you is, with the popularity of sports, why do we not hear more about your Madden every year, NBA every year, in internet culture?
As far as, like...
The games.
Like Madden,
your 2Ks,
16, stuff like that. So I guess, what are you asking specifically?
So, they're always reviewed well. I mean, sometimes they get, 7s, but they sell millions of copies, and yet we don't hear much about them. Like, what do you think is the reason for that?
I think, in terms of, like, scope, there's not a whole lot to talk about. With NBA 2K16, it was a really big deal because it was a Spike Lee joint. So Spike Lee, really big director. If you're not familiar with his work, he does a lot of dark and gritty kind of stuff. He, I guess, wrote a really good narrative for NBA 2K16. So, like, it was your journey from, like, the, regular neighborhood to the, I don't know, basketball enough. Yeah, from nothing to the NBA, essentially is what the story was. But it was a really good, I guess, narrative written by Spike Lee, which is a really big deal. I think outside of that, there's really nothing to talk about. It's football. Football is football, and it'll look a little more realistic. It'll give you a little more options as far as like catching, receiving, and passing and stuff like that, offense and defense. But what else is there to talk about? They sell a lot of copies because the fan base is there. I would say the fan base for Madden is probably as rabid as Call of Duty, in the sense that anytime Madden comes out, your core customers are going to come out, buy it day one because they want to go and compete with the new one. I remember a dude from, it was last year or the year before, how much is the new game? $60.
$6. Yep, give or take. And
then you can buy a video game currency to add different stuff to the game. This guy, no joke, probably spent an extra $400 or $500 in video game currency alone to do, it's called the Madden Ultimate Team, which I don't play. I'm Rocket League, I'm stuff like that. I'm not Madden or NBA. I'm not that person. But I guess you use the money to help your team get better, to better stats, I'm guessing. But almost $400 or $500 just outside of the game. You're already $60 in the game, and then another $400 or $500 just on video game currency. I have no idea why we're not talking about that more.
Yep.
The DLC component to games where we talk about MMOs, like, you know, it's free to play, but then it's pay to win.
Yeah, that's rough.
I remember when DC Universe Online came out and you had to... I remember buying it from GameStop when I lived in Columbus, and the guy telling me, you know this is pay to play, right? You have to have a subscription. And then they took that down, but then you could play it for free, except if you wanted to do all the stuff that you need to do to actually be good at the game, you had to pay the subscription.
Yep.
I don't know, man. There's something weird about that. There's something weird about paying for your game, and then if you actually want to be competitive, paying money to play your game and play it well.
Yeah, it's a great business model.
For sure.
It's fantastic to make your money, but it's a little shady.
Because microtransactions are getting ridiculously huge as far as season passes and DLC and stuff like that. Fallout's DLC just came out. I know Dark Souls 3 has some DLC, but that's not coming out until end of this year and beginning of next year, so we've got a long way off. But I just think there's a really weird... Like, Rocket League is awesome in the sense that I got it for free because I was a PlayStation Plus member. I can pay for skins... But nothing that I buy will help me play the game any better.
Yep, that's how League does it, Smite does it, games like that. Like you can play, they give you rotations. You have 5 stock gods with Smite, and then you have 5 rotation gods. So every week they give you 5 other gods to play as, and those are all free. Or you can, spend $30, it unlocks all the gods, and then you buy gems to get new skins for them, which the skins are really cool to collect.
But it's aesthetic.
Yeah, that changes nothing.
Doesn't give you any power? Okay. Nope. See, I'm alright with that. I just think it's weird. I think that to answer your question as before, I don't think that they're talking about games that much just because there's not a whole lot to talk about because the game is the game. I think if they're ever going to break a story that's this big going forward about games, it would be about microtransactions and how much secondary money is spent to play these games in the way that it's meant to be played to win it, as opposed to a game like Rocket League where it's in Smite and League of Legends where it's you buy the game and it's yours. And paying more money makes you look cooler, driving the Batmobile or whatever, but that's it, which is pretty much how a game should be. It should DLC, watch chat play, specific feeling about this. DLC should be something that's aesthetic only, or if you want something extra, you shouldn't have to pay to win a game.
Yeah, you should not have to pay to see the ending.
Yeah,
like if they want to add something on, by all means, but if your main disc that you put in does not have a successful ending to your game, that's a ripoff. That's cheesy and shady.
And I think that's what scares a lot of people where it's, you buy the season pass and then you get all this DLC today. Like, so your DLC is finished. I'm just paying to get the rest of the game.
Call of Duty.
But then you look at Dark Souls and like Fallout. Like Fallout, they didn't know what the DLC was. They're like, we'll charge you whatever it was for it, and then we'll make it. And then they're like, holy crap, this is
enough.
We need to raise the price because this isn't enough. That I thought was really interesting, which I would like to see more of. But that's just the business model it's shifting aggressively toward downloadable content, which I think is weird.
Yep. My theory on why we don't talk about sports games as much as we do, your sci-fi, fantasy, your Call of Duties and stuff, is that it's a simulation. With video games is more of an escapist culture. Mm-hmm. Like, we play video games to get away from whatever crap we have going on, to waste a few hours just exploring another world. And with that simulation, you're not godlike. Like, you are just a normal player that if you're doing a career as a single player or whatever, you're a normal person that loses all the time, and like, you have to build yourself up, which is fun, but you're only doing it in a single way. Like, you're only playing a single sport, earning stupid stuff, and it's too realistic. It's not. Just something about it doesn't feel like you have those godlike abilities like you do in a Dark Souls or something. Like, you start at the bottom with Dark Souls, but then you become godlike. And with your simulation games, no matter how good your stats are, you're not going to be, trouncing people, and unless you're playing NFL Blitz, which those were fun.
When they made Blood Bowl 2, it was like, no man, give me Blitz. Blitz was great, so I can come and drop kick somebody.
Yeah,
that was football. I was going to ask you real quick before I want to do Analog Assemble real quick because I think we're running a little bit long. But so VR, rigs, and there's a couple other games that are coming out. What if esports shifts into VR? Where did you ever see that movie The Island with like Obi-Wan Kenobi? Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson.
I'm not.
Okay, so there's a part where, so picture Street Fighter, but they are in a simulation where they're essentially shadow boxing one another, and then whoever does the best job of shadow boxing pretty much beats the other player, and like it's your body, the controller for the two digital things that are fighting each other. How long do you think before esports shifts into VR, where games like Rigs and stuff like that, where it's you with a headset on and you're putting way more of yourself into the game?
That'd be cool.
So it's more skill based. I think that would be really interesting.
That'd be really neat. I'd watch it. And then you could actually do simulated sports to get that sports crowd to watch you as well, which that'd be kind of a kick in the tush for those old people.
I think that would be interesting. It would be hard for the people that are console based, like controller based rather. But I think it would open up something more interesting to watch. Because if we do our Let's Plays, there's a lot of times where we're just like, gamer face. But if you're actually in a VR suit and you're actually running and stuff, I think that'd be cool.
Haptic suits. I'd be on board.
For people who want to fight but don't want to get into the octagon and play UFC.
Exactly.
So I guess
kind of like with the Wii boxing, but you're right there and it kind of hurts because it makes you sick because your head gets jerked and stuff. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
All right, so I think it's time we throw it over to Devon for our analog addiction.
What's up, guys? Devon here from Watch Chat Play, and this is our Analog Assemble segment where we cover all the news, reviews, and previews from the website analogaddiction.org and kind of wrap it up so if you don't have time to read it, maybe you can come here and check it out. So we'll start with reviews since that's a really big deal. So first, Tom Clancy's The Division. Editor Nathan Manning took The Division for a spin this week and said it was a very polarizing experience. He said, on the one hand, it's a fun role-playing game that hooked me into a vicious cycle of shoot, kill, loot, and level up. On the other hand, the repetitive nature of the game made me dread logging in, knowing that I'd be doing the same activities throughout the game's 30 or so hour climb to the end of it. So definitely something to think about if you're going to pick it up. And Nate ended up giving The Division a 7 out of 10. And speaking of The Division, we'll go right into news because that was our only review for the week. The Incursions update brings new activities into the game. Players can now join a squad-based mission called Incursion, and the update also added Dark Zone supply drops, player-to-player loot training, and an in-game video series that delivers weekly assignments every Tuesday at noon. And in addition to the news about The Division, if you're a PlayStation Vita owner, you might like this a lot. Severed will launch April 26th for the PlayStation Vita. Severed is a first-person dungeon crawler that lets you sever limbs from their enemies and then equip those pieces to power up your character. And this game was supposed to release last year, but I guess it wasn't finished enough. So they're going to go ahead, polish it up a little bit, and now it's ready, and they're going to release that the 26th, so 2 days after my birthday, so something to think about. And if you like trailers, go ahead and head to analogaddiction.org if you want to see the new Titanfall 2 trailer and the Gears of War 4 trailer. And those are two games that I know a lot of people have been excited about. So if you want to check out the trailers, go ahead and get yourself to analogaddiction.org. So thank you for watching this week's Analog Assemble. My name is Devon, and we'll catch you next time.
So that's our show for the week. Stay tuned because we're going to do a couple Let's Plays this week. What Let's Play are we doing?
Okay, so I think we're going to start with your attempt at Dark Souls. I'm so excited for this. I'm going to try to coach him. We'll see how this goes.
There's like a welcome aboard guide for Dark Souls 3, and it's kind of different gamers that have come and died, and so I don't know. I don't know.
It's good. I have faith. I think he'll do all right.
And then in the spirit of esports, we're actually going to do our first Let's Play of Rocket League, which I am so excited about. I've been wanting to do Rocket League forever, just because I love that game so much, so I'm really excited about that. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked what we're doing here. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. Yep. You could join our Watch Chat Play community on PlayStation Network if you want to play with that.
I think we have an Instagram too. Yep, Instagram. Post pictures quite a bit now.
For sure. And you did a lot of stuff with just streaming Dark Souls 3 and stuff like that this past week. So
I tried my hand at it, but my connection's not that perfect. Mm-hmm. But I will try to make videos.
Yeah, for sure. And like the both of us, because we both have PlayStation 4s, obviously. So if there's something that I'm playing, I might just do a quick event and just invite some of you guys to play along for Rocket League or whatever, or like Battleborn or something like that. So watch out for that. Just know that if you join that, we might record it and share it. So if you have any issues with that, maybe don't join us if you don't want your name or something associated with this or broadcast online, because that's it's absolutely your right as a gamer to not have that stuff. But generally, that's what we're doing here because we like sharing what we're playing. So
it's fun.
So you're more than welcome to do that or not do that. And also, Analogaddiction.org if you're watching us there. Hey guys, how's it going? If you haven't been to that website, check it out. A lot of the stuff from Analog Assemble, that's all directly pulled from their website just to do a wrap up for it. So stop by then, give them some love. And as always, my name is Devon.
And I'm Cameron.
And we'll see you next week on Watch, Chat, Play.
Later, guys.